9 p.m. English News Edition. Here are the top stories. Visit of a parliamentary and government delegation to Gubeto. The international news, Iceland tests its tourism descendants for COVID-19 cases since June 13. Hello, welcome again to our newsroom for having the news in details. A parliamentarian and governmental delegation led by the President of the National Assembly, Mr. Mohammed Ali Hamid, and the Minister of Budget, His Excellency Mr. Abdulkarim Aden Sher, visited the village of Gubeto yesterday. This visit, which is part of the ongoing contact between the population and leaders, was an opportunity to discuss the difficult aspect of life in Gubeto. All issues related to health, education, energy, and youth employment were raised during the delegation's meeting with the notables, youth, and women's representatives of Gubeto. The delegation had to establish the program to follow up on grievances expressed by the population during the last tour of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh. The delegation, which was composed of the Ministry of Budget and the President of the National Assembly, the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, and Minister of the Minister of Communication, in charge of Post and Telecommunication. The President of the National Assembly, Mr. Mohammed Ali Hamid, took into consideration all the grievances of the notables as well as the youth and women. They all raised the very important points and thanked them, explained that the deputies of the region are chosen and elected by the population as a gift all the regions, but once the deputy are elected, they all represent the population of Djibouti. Their role is to serve the entire population without distinction. They are the intermediary between the population and the government. All the grievances that have been mentioned here, such as education, health, and infrastructures, will be followed up, and they will do everything they can to implement them. In response to the proposed doleances, the Budget Minister, His Excellency Mr. Abdulkarim Aden Sher, said that the government will spare no effort to address the overall problems and difficulties facing the citizens of Gubeto village in the Ali Sabih region. In the south of the country, he recalled that the President of the Republic had given instruction to the members of the government to address the needs of the population, particularly after his recent tour of the interior region in his meeting with the population. Regarding the problem of electricity, the Ministry of Budget indicated that the Ministry of Energy will soon be working on the establishment of a solar power plant to provide electricity to the inhabitants of village of Gubeto. Regarding the construction of a handcraft center for women, His Excellency Mr. Abdulkarim Aden Sher noted that the Ministry of Women and Family will undertake the implementation of this project to enable the women of the village to develop handcraft projects. Finally, the Ministry of Budget addressed the problem of unemployment affecting the youth of the village and said that the government will implement to enable young people to access to the labor market. In turn, the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, described this visit as fraternal, and that is part of the preventive meetings that the authorities are holding with the inhabitants of the interior region. Finally, he indicated that all requests from the inhabitants of the village of Gubeto will be dealt with by the competent authorities. Now, the Minister of Communication in charge of Post and Telecommunication, His Excellency Mr. Radwan Abdullahi Bahdan, thanked and appreciated the locals, young people, and women of the Gubeto locality for their warm welcome and hospitalities. He stressed that this visit comes after this visit of the President of the Republic to the interior regions at the beginning of this year to closely examine the conditions of the population, meet their needs in various fields. The Ministry of Communications said that the government was making efforts to meet the needs of the population in accordance with the directive issued by the President of the Republic after his regional tour. Now, on the occasion of the 43rd anniversary of national independence, at the beginning of his declaration, the mayor of Djibouti City, Madam Fatima Awali Osman, congratulated the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, and the First Lady of the National Union of Women of Djibouti, Mrs. Khadra Mohammed Haid, the members of the government, and all the people of Djibouti on this occasion. The Mayor of Djibouti City, Fatima Awali Osman, invites all the ministers and fellow citizens to mobilize massively to celebrate the 43rd anniversary of the national independence. In this sense, the Mayor of Djibouti City calls on all citizens to contribute to the beautification work of the clean city operation by renovating the facades of the administration of various shops and homes. This will include cleaning and restyling the facades of these buildings. Mrs. Fatima Awali Osman also urged the occupants of various arcades in the city center to clear the public roads as soon as possible. These arcades were built to reduce and mitigate the direct sunlight contact on pedestrians in the center of the capital. Their main function is to provide a pedestrian crossing for all users. The Mayor of Djibouti urged citizens to follow the instruction of the Ministry of Health to fight COVID-19 and celebrate this ceremony inside your home for this national occasion. As part of the celebration of the 43rd anniversary again of the independence, the SEGS is launching a competition for the interpretation of the national anthem into the national language aimed at young people aged at 12 and 15 of all sex. It is in this context that the various officials and members of the management of the CDC held yesterday a meeting to launch the competition in the presence of juries in the large meeting room. The contest aimed to reaffirm the values carried by the national anthem by allowing young people to reappropriate it, explains the CDC Director Mrs. Ruqayya Hassan. Young people wishing to take part in this contest are invited to perform the national anthem on video and send it via WhatsApp on the following numbers: 77827909 and 77027300. In the same context, the department is launching another competition for young people under 25 years of age. This time, the poetry competition. Candidates will have the task of composing and reciting lyrics in the national language in a video before sending it to us via WhatsApp on above mentioned numbers. The competitors are open to all Djiboutians, including those from interior. It will be noted that the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport will devote throughout the month of June a series of actions on the remainder of the struggle for independence with the desire to maintain and animate the inseparable links between the nation and its youth. Now, in the case opposing the public prosecutor office, Mr. Fuad Yusuf Ali, charged with attempted theft of a military aircraft, degradation, relationship with a foreign power, defamation, and harm to a national defense. At the hearing of Thursday, June 18, 2020, the indictment chamber has seen the decision number 548DD 2020 of June 4, 2020, having regard to the medical expertise report of Dr. Hamidou Ali, dated June 9, 2020, having regard to the medical expertise report of Dr. Ilyas Idriye, dated June 10, 2020, rejected the request for hospitalization of Mr. Fuad Yusuf Ali in accordance with the medical expertise reports, rejected the request for a provisional release of the accused Mr. Fuad Yusuf Ali because of the seriousness of the fact for which he is accused and the penalties incurred, and rejected the other claims of the accused and founded. Now, moving to the Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Salah Bonita Touaib, gave us the daily press briefing of today. The data of the COVID-19 epidemic is as follows: 329 tests performed, 8 positive cases of COVID-19, 127 cases cured, and 2 deaths. And as for the global balance sheet, it declines as follows: 44,200 tests performed, 4,565 COVID-19 positive, 3,565 cases were confirmed cured, 45 deaths in total. Stay alert, protect yourself and the others. Now, the Teacher Training Center hosted a meeting to present a study on the impact of the COVID-19 crisis on people with special needs in the Republic of Djibouti. The event was organized by the National Agency for Disabled Persons, ANPH, and was attended by representatives of various associations responsible for the protection of the rights of persons with disability in Djibouti. The study on the impact of COVID-19 crisis on persons with disabilities, conducted by a group of experts, focused on the negative impact of the COVID-19 epidemic on persons with disabilities, particularly in the economic and health fields. On the other hand, the General Director of the National Agency for Persons with Disabilities, Mr. Douali Said Mahmoud, presided over a ceremony for the distribution of personal protective equipment against the COVID-19 epidemic to representatives of associations, where they received masks and gloves and other material used to prevent the coronavirus. In an interview with the national television station, the National Agency for the Disabled Persons, Mr. Douali Said Mahmoud stressed that people with disabilities in Djibouti are affected by coronavirus, especially in the economic and health fields, according to the study on the impact of the COVID-19 crisis on people with disabilities. He noted that the process of distributing personal protective equipment against the epidemic is a part of the effort undertaken by the agency for the prevention of the emerging virus, and is a part of the implementation to the policy of the President of the Republic. Douali Said Mahmoud stressed that the agency will soon start distributing food for the disabled to contribute to efforts and to improve their living conditions. Finally, he took this opportunity to reaffirm the attention that the government is giving under the leadership of the President of the Republic to people with special needs. Now, following the example of the international community, the Ali Adde Camp celebrated on Tuesday, June 16, 2020, the World Day of the African Child, organized by the NGO LWF in partnership with HONORS, UNHCR, and UNICEF, placed under the theme Access to Child-Friendly Justice in Africa. The Day of the African Child is celebrated on 16 June each year, a commemoration launched in 1991 by the Organization of the African Union. The Republic of Djibouti is one of the countries that have committed it to defend the rights of children in terms of child welfare and protection. And now we have just learned with sadness yesterday the death of Ahmed Suleiman Ali at the Djibouti military hospital of a heart attack. The deceased, who was the younger brother of the Attorney General, Mr. Jama Suleiman Ali, left a widow and 8 children. The Ministry of Communication and Justice expressed their sincere condolences to the Attorney General and his entire family. May Allah the Most High welcome him in his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raj'un. Moving now into the international news, Iceland has been testing its tourists since the reopening its border to Schengen countries less than a week ago. 2 new people, Danish nationals, tested positive to COVID-19 when they got off the plane. One had developed antibodies against the disease and was therefore able to continue his journey, while the other was placed in isolation. 927 tests were carried out on 1,100 travelers. Not all those who have a medical certificate are affected. Since the beginning of the week, 2 other people have tested positive, Romanian nationals who broke the quarantine and were subsequently arrested. In Romania, with over 23,000 infections and more than 1,400 deaths, hospitals are close to the limit of their capacity. The Health Directorate has stated that 325 and 417 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours have been detected in Lisbon metropolitan area. Portugal has officially registered more than 38,000 cases of COVID-19 and more than 1,500 deaths since the beginning of the pandemic. This is it for this edition of 9 p.m. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful night.
RTD Money est une nouvelle solution de paiement mobile. Il vous suffit de composer étoile